What is going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, back again with another update, and I hope you all enjoyed the eclipse as the moon went across the sun, as the rays of sunshine started beaming out from behind the moon. We got a bomber dropped from Fabrizio Romano, Gaston Edul, all the reliable journalists. The Romero deal is done. Romero to Atletico Madrid. Here we go. It is done and dusted. 40 million euros, including add-ons. Ben Jacobs reporting as well, a 15% sell-on fee included in the deal. According to Fabrizio Romano, he says agreement in place between the clubs, 40 million euro package with add-ons included. Inter deal off in July. Barcelona decided not to proceed days ago. Spurs were never going to sell to Arsenal. The deal is done. Gaston Edul also reporting that he has heard exclusively that Romero is an Atletico Madrid player. And obviously all the other journalists have been jumping off the back of this news. Romero no longer a Tottenham player. He'll be playing his football in La Liga next season for Atletico Madrid. It's the worst kept secret in the transfer window. It's been in the it's been a transfer that's been in the making for probably over a year at this point. Obviously, Romero signed his contract last year, putting off these rumors of looking to leave, and it looked as though he was, going to be here to stay. He was given the captaincy, and a year later, after many trials and tribulations, red cards, bad performances, public statements, he will be now leaving the football club for less than we paid for him. Tottenham actually making a loss on Cristian Romero, which is incredible considering he's a World Cup winner. He just got to the World Cup final. He was captain. He started as captain when we won the Europa League a year ago, and now he'll be leaving the football club for 40 million euros. No doubt about it, it is a fee which is way undervalued of what we should be getting for Cristian Romero. In another world, in another life, we would be getting at least 70, maybe even as high as 80 million pounds for Cristian Romero, and that's probably what he's worth with 3 years, I think, left on his deal after he signed a contract last summer. Current club captain of the team, steps up at some points. He has, at finals, he's played very well and obviously had some good games, but there's not beat around the bush. He's in a lot of games also made mistakes. He's also got red cards. He's let the team down a number of occasions, and he's made public statements criticizing the hierarchy, criticizing the football club for their direction, with a lot of fans agreed with, a lot of fans were on board with, but it is used against Cristian Romero when it comes to these negotiations. It comes to how much Tottenham want to keep him around, because he is a headache that the hierarchy do not want. Also, he has grown disgruntled with the club, and he's and disgruntled the direction. Funnily enough, it looks as though the summer that he is leaving is maybe the summer there are signs of us getting our act together, signs of us going in a different direction. We've broken our transfer record twice in this window, so there are signs of Tottenham looking to be a bit more ambitious, looking to do what Romero wanted us to do, which is spend similar money to our rivals. But I think too much has happened. There's too much baggage with Tottenham and Romero, and we are now going our separate ways. It's a complicated. I think we've always had a complicated relationship, this fan base, with Cristian Romero. I think ever since he's come to the club, he's split opinion, in my opinion. From what I've seen from the fan base, I think from very early on, some fans, he came with this reputation of obviously being a very good centre-back from Atalanta, and he was Serie A Defender of the Year when he joined, and everyone was very excited. But in his first season, started off quite shakily, and he was gaining a reputation for being rash. For he got sent off in one of his first games against Vitesse in a Conference League game, and some fans decided this guy's a liability. This guy's rash. He's he gets caught out too many times. But then there were some seasons where he showed his quality. He showed how good he can be. I think he grew a reputation of being one of the best on-the-ball centre-backs in the Premier League with his incredible passing ability. But his reputation did follow him around, and every time he got sent off, every time he made a mistake, people would point at those moments and highlight those moments as evidence of him being the centre-back. A lot of them thought there was backing up their opinion, him being a rash liability who ultimately wasn't good enough, or not wasn't good enough, but never really showed his how good he could be. And definitely there was a reputation, and it could be true, that he cared more about Argentina than Spurs, miraculously always appearing fit for Argentina when international break came along, and always seemed to be missing a lot of football for Spurs, and always injured or suspended. So I think it's always been a mixed bag, we've had a mixed relationship with Romero. He definitely has at times, for me, been one of the best centre-backs in the league. When he's on his day, when he's at his best, when he's fully focused. I remember those 6 months under Conte. I remember the first season under Ange. Even at parts in the second season when he was fit and available, he was brilliant, and I thought he was forming a really good partnership with Mickey van der Ven at times. But you can't beat around the bush when it comes to the downside as well. I think with Romero, if you're going to have him in the team, you're going to have to accept the good with the bad. And some fans were willing to accept it because there was a lot of upside, and some fans were not. And some fans, he was too much of a liability. Definitely in his last stages of his career, he definitely tarnished his reputation, a lot of respect he got, his legacy. After, he was the love of everyone, with pictures of him lifting that Europa League trophy, getting man of the match and player of the tournament last season, to a year later, making public statements in January about how the club have been lying and let the team down with their lack of signings, and accusing the club of saying things publicly which they're not doing behind closed doors. He then got sent off in very crucial games when we're in the middle of a relegation battle, then got injured, obviously whether that's his fault or not, but he got injured with 7 games to go in De Zerbi's first game. And not only did he get injured, but he was set to not watch the final game, which was a do-or-die game for Tottenham Hotspur, one of the most important games in their history. He was set to spend that time in Argentina watching his boyhood club play in the equivalent of a title playoff, I believe. And that, as club captain, in what was a massive game, I think that really, for a lot of fans, showed his true colours of where his heart truly lies, what he truly thinks of the club right now. And he lost a lot of respect from a lot of fans, and I was fuming. Now, he did end up staying at Tottenham on the last day of the season, and he did end up watching the game with his teammates, and obviously we ended up staying up. But I think for a lot of fans, that was the final straw when it comes to any shred of respect. We've now had the whole summer where we know he's wanted to leave. We know that Spurs have been very open to selling, and now we're looking at a situation where we have taken a very, very low fee, in my opinion, just to get him out of the club. I think for me, it's just time to draw a line under this, move on from it. I'd like to remember the good times. You can't stay away from the bad times with Cristian Romero, and for a lot of people, he'll leave as a player they don't have any respect for. They don't have good memories of. Some players, even some fans, almost even said with the links to Arsenal late on, he was a potential traitor or Judas if he was even considering that move. We don't know how the truth to all those rumours about him and Arsenal and everything like that. At the end of the day, he was the player, was captain on the day when we did win that Europa League. He had a lot of good moments. So how do you assess Romero's time overall at Tottenham? It's a complicated one. Was he a successful signing or was he a flop? People have differing opinions. I would say I don't think he was a flop, but he could have been so much better than he was. And it always felt like there was always more to come with Romero, which never really ended up coming, unfortunately. And we never really saw that Romero who was fully consistent throughout the whole season, could be relied upon, could always be a player you could trust. Wasn't a very good captain. I think we can all agree on that. So I think there's good and bad. People have their opinions on him. I loved him as a player. I really thought he was brilliant, and I really hoped that he could be here for a long time. I was delighted when he signed the contract a year ago, but it didn't turn out the way I hoped. I've got to be honest, it went wrong. It really went wrong, especially last season for Kuti and his football club, and the relationship got tarnished, and it broke down within the club. There's allegations of him being late multiple times in training, acting unprofessionally. So I think he tarnished his legacy. You can't deny that. And he doesn't go down as one of the greats, unfortunately, in a Spurs shirt. But he definitely doesn't go down as one of the worst or anything like that. I think you can probably say he was a good defender who never really lived up to his potential at Tottenham Hotspur. I think he's so Atletico Madrid coded. He'll be brilliant at Atletico. I think Diego Simeone will not let him get away with some of the antics that he's gotten away with at Tottenham. I think being a fellow Argentinian and being a legend, just like Romero is a bit of a legend for Argentina, I think they're going to see eye to eye. I think they probably have very similar thoughts on football, on how it should be played, on how aggressive. He's going to love Romero's aggression. He's going to love his ball playing ability. And I think Atletico have got a great deal here. 40 million euros for Cristian Romero in this market is borderline daylight robbery. So Romero, we'll see you later. He's gone. We've already replaced him, so it's not like we're looking to replace him. He was always, we all knew he was going to be out the door sooner rather than later, and looks like it is going to be imminent when that deal is confirmed. Romero's agent has already been posting on social media, little sneak peeks of an announcement incoming when it regards to Cristian Romero. So I guess that is imminent. It could be in the next 24 hours. I assume there will be an official announcement from both clubs. So, do I wish him the best? I do wish him the best. There's no ill feeling. I just feel like it's a shame how it ended. It's a shame he never lived up to his full potential. And I really wish we saw the Romero that we see for Argentina. And I assume we are going to see for Atletico Madrid. I don't blame it all on Romero, as much as Romero is going to get a lot of flack. He was captain and everything, and he should be set to a higher standard. The club were a mess. The club were all over the place, and I can't really blame a player like of the mentality of Romero for being disillusioned at times and for not knowing where the club is going, for lacking direction and not being happy with the direction the club was going. I can't blame him for that. But when you're captain of the football club, you cannot let your standards slip. You can't be acting unprofessionally. And at the end of the day, he was causing more and more problems than he was solving. That's the truth. I do believe maybe under a different manager one day, I think under Ange, by and large, he was good. I do think maybe the right manager, the right conditions, the right mentality, there's a very, very good player in there. We're never going to see it at Tottenham, and we never did see it at Tottenham nearly enough. So wish Romero well at Atletico. I'm sure he's going to go there and do well. We haven't got a great fee for him, but he moves on. There's going to be a lot of discourse about how people feel about him. A lot of people are directing a lot of anger at him, and I can understand it. But for me, it's water under the bridge. He's gone now. We're moving on. We're going in a different direction. And it's time to look forward to the future. And I assume now Romero is gone. And when that is officially announced, Tottenham will officially announce a new club captain, which is rumoured to be James Maddison. Could well be Mickey van der Ven. We'll wait to see that in terms of where he ranks in captains. Yeah, you got to say he wasn't a good captain last season. He wasn't good with the armband. He was letting the team down on a number of occasions. He was acting unprofessionally. He was causing problems in the dressing room. He was causing problems within the club. Rightly or wrongly, when it came to him being disillusioned, you can't have that as your captain. And at the end of the day, I don't think he'll be remembered fondly as a captain, but he might be remembered more fondly as a player on his day, and especially he'll always have that Europa League final and that Europa League campaign to remember. No one can really take that away from him. So is what it is with Cristian Romero. Let's move on to the next story, and that is going to be just a little update about Jed Spence. We got the Here We Go earlier today in regards to Jed Spence, but DiMarzio is now reporting with Jed Spence that the documents are set to be signed between Friday and Saturday, with Jed Spence set to arrive in Milan on Friday. So that deal is set to go through. Just a little also addendum to the reports we were saying earlier. Apparently it's 30 million euros plus 5 million add-ons with a 10% sell-on fee. So with all that being said, it's another fee which obviously a lot of Tottenham fans are not happy with, understandably. I think this is a player who should be going for probably 35 to 40 million pounds, not 30 million euros. It is a fee that could rise to about 35 million euros, which is 30 million pounds. So again, it's a pretty low fee for a player of his stock at this current moment. But when you take in the whole context with Romero and Spence going for a combined let's say around 65 million, that would now, with all our sales, if you give or take add-ons and sell-on percentages, that would take our fees that we've now received for sales this summer to around 180 million pounds, which is, you got to say, a lot of money coming into the club. I know we spent about 230, so it makes our net spend around 50 million pounds at the time of recording, which is not a massive net spend. You always consider Pape Sarr could be leaving the football club. Vicario is set to leave the football club. One of Dom or Rishi, or maybe even both, or neither, but one of them could leave the football club. And Bergvall or Bentancur could well leave the football club. So there could yet still be some more windfall coming into this football club. And we are more likely than not going to break the 200 million barrier when it comes to fees received. So when you're looking at the sales, you're looking at the figures, there should be plenty of money there to go out and splash the cash on some attackers. Obviously, we need to replace Spence as well. But in terms of putting the money down on those forward players that we need, the money should be there. The money should be there to splash the cash. We have spent right now about a net spend of 50 million. So you would think if Tottenham could spend up to 350 million, some people even saying up to 400 million, there should be a lot of money to be spent over these next few weeks. And we need to spend it because we are really light in the forward line right now. We are desperate for forward players with the new season quickly around the corner. So, we could spend easily another 200 million. There is no reason why not. And there's no really excuse. I'm not saying we have to spend 200 million. I'm just saying there's no excuse to not get some attackers through the door with the amount of money we are available to spend. We could easily have a net spend of 250 million. No doubt about it. And right now we've only spent net, I think, just over 50. So I think we've done a great job just getting money through the door, getting players out the club. But it's now time to make sure the most important part of this squad, that forward line, is addressed urgently in these final weeks of the window. And one player that could well be the start of addressing that is, you guessed it, Savinho. And yet more reports coming out of Savinho, and this is more encouraging reports for Savinho coming out in these late hours. Now, SZY, who's a well-known now Tottenham ITK, as you all know, he reported earlier today with Savinho that Savinho is likely to be making his move to Tottenham next week with, let me just get it up. He's reporting that Spurs are likely to make their move for Savinho next week. It's likely to land in Tottenham's favour. The deal could be done by next weekend, and Roberto De Zerbi wants him in time to face Brentford on the opening day. So Savinho, that well could be moving in the right direction. He says the situation is coming to an end next week. It will be in favour of Tottenham, so quite definitive. An agreement is getting closer. Fee believed to be worth up to £70 million, and De Zerbi wants him in time for Brentford, which is obviously music to everyone's ears. If he can be in that starting 11 come the first day of the season, he is very much needed, and he will go straight into that first 11. And there has been also a report from Bruno Andrade from ESPN Brazil, and he said Tottenham Man City expected to complete Savinho deal in the coming days with, which is interesting part, with the fee comfortably exceeding £70 million, which when it comes to Savinho is an extortionate fee. It's a crazy overpay, I would say. This is coming from one of Savinho's biggest fans. I'm a massive believer in his ability. I'm a massive believer in what he's capable of. I think he's one of the best dribblers in the league. I think he's a chance creation machine. He's still so young, and I think he's already shown for me in the Premier League he's capable of playing at this level for sure. I've got absolutely no doubts about that. He can play left, he can play right. I think he's got all the tools to be a top winger and to be a really great signing. 70 million, given how it went for last season and the fact that he wants to leave, is a bit high. I would say I was more comfortable paying around 45 million to 50 million. So you're looking at paying nearly 30 million over his value, over what you should be paying for Savinho, where he currently is. But I think one good season at Tottenham and all of a sudden that, he's probably worth more than 70 million. I think this is a player for me who's potentially worth more than 70 million. I think people are sleeping on his quality. I think he's going to prove a lot of people wrong, but he's got to prove it, and that's what a lot of fans are skeptical about. He is a player who struggles with his final third product. He is a player who maybe still has to make those right decisions when he gets into the penalty box with the pullbacks and when to shoot, when to cross. He doesn't score many goals, which is a lot of fear for fans who says we need more goal scorers, we need more players to put the ball in the back of the net. I understand all those reservations, but for me, if we've got two winger options of Kudus and Savinho on either wing, we are going to be a nightmare for teams to handle. It's going to be so hard for teams to know where to look when it comes to having those two wingers running at the fullbacks and causing problems. It's going to create spaces all over the place. And I think Savinho is one step to really unlocking the potential of this attack. And I can understand why De Zerbi really wants him. So, as I've just said before, we have the money. We can spend it. I'm not willing to miss out on Savinho because it's an overpay. I think we should just put the money down, get him over the line, and start improving our attack and start adding quality. Even if we spend 70 million on him, we could probably spend, even an extra 150 million on another two attackers. So I'm not really worried about the money. I think 70 million is an overpay. In this current market, the winger market is not very good. I think, the winger market's not great. So I think you've got to take what you can get. He is quality. He is a player who I believe has shown he can do it to a decent level just yet in the Premier League. Obviously, when it comes to La Liga, he was brilliant in La Liga. So this one could well be coming to an end. Maybe we're going to be ending this daily Savinho chat once and for all. We'll have to wait and see on that one. But this seems to be rolling on. So, look, that's your update. Looks like Savinho is going the right direction finally. It's given me a lot more confidence that that deal's going to be done because I was getting nervous with some of his really good performances in pre-season. But let me know your thoughts on the Romero deal. Let me know your thoughts on the fees we're getting. And that's what we've got time for. So we'll see you all on the next update. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.